thought about that game in particular?
What I think is one game separates one of these teams from elimination from the Mid-Season Brawl and from moving on to the bracket stage. For CE, it's about representing China because there's no way that the one can make it. For HeroesHearth, it's the first time they've put expectations on themselves, and even McIntyre tweeted that it's crazy that expectation and stress, how that affects your mindset, and you could see it there, Skimmy.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I spoke to McIntyre before and he said, look, we're getting really, really nervous leading into this one, and rightfully so. Like, you realize the ramifications of what this next game in particular is going to mean. You heard in the studio, CE was starting to get very, very vocal. You can start to feel them actually, finding their feet. And we were very critical of them in the draft, but I think when you come to a situation like this, there's two ways to approach it. One, we're going to bust out something quite new and quite exciting to try and find that win, or we're just going to stick to our comforts. And whilst we were very critical of that, they found it in their comforts. They were able to get a ridiculous lead in levels. And I just want HeroesHearth to sort of, if they can, have Coffin in the back there, try and reset that mentality, take down a step and not defeat yourself rather than getting defeated by the opponent.
Wolf, such amazing synergy from CE, what we have been looking for this whole tournament.
I mean, it was really well done. I actually really want to give full credit to ETC, the wind play there with the constant flanking. That's been, I know everyone's talking about Johanna, we're seeing Ariel again, some double support. But for me, I'm thinking Stage Dive made a huge comeback here across all teams. We're seeing very rarely Mosh. Only really the Korean teams are running Mosh, and not even every time. But Stage Dive making a big comeback here for flanks. And I think going on to what you guys are hinting at with nerves and stuff like that, when you have Mosh, it like really punishes misplays a lot. You get stuck, you can't get out, and this global hero just traps you. There's no escape, and I think that's part of the reason why they struggled so much.
Well, Dread, I know you've got something to show us, but you called it for the top push, and from there it just seemed to snowball.
We're going to pause it right here, and I'm going to show you guys exactly what I was worried about for HeroesHearth Esports and how they failed to respond in the same manner as Ballistics. We saw the night rotation coming out from Sihi, and they're just getting the siege up on the top half of the map. But the biggest thing to highlight here is Blaze in the minimap just cleared the minion wave, and he has a rotational advantage there, while Arthlon is worried about defending the Giants on the bottom half of the map. Typically what you see in this rotation is Arthlon then rotates to mid, he'll get the clear on that, and he'll get the team level 4. They can hold their own on the top half. Afterwards, you rotate to Knights, you have one person pull back, you get the Knights, and then counter push on the top half in about 30 seconds after, you even out the scales. What they don't do is make that rotation. Arth instead is going to stay on bottom, defend the Giants, and try and get a counter siege on the bottom half. Blaze makes easy clear of that. What that means is the level 4 advantage is going to remain in favor of CE over the skirmish. Ishbu goes out to try and zone, but he doesn't have the talent here he's looking for. He has no opportunity to even bring the skirmish if they wanted to because of the experience lost in the middle half of the map. And because of this, it sets up a very easy kill. And from this point on, honestly, the game is nearly over, except for one other misplay that they make here, which is, again, another replay I have for you guys here set up. This is the beginning of the end up until one more team fight that HeroesHearth ended up taking. And it's going to be right here. And the biggest thing we want to highlight is, compositionally speaking, Blaze, amazing when it comes to territorial fights. Genji, pretty good as well. ETC, one of the best. Vala and Ariel. Ariel's one of the best supports. Vala, not too shabby. Meanwhile, at the other side of the battlefield, I think you can only argue probably Malfurion and Li Ming are successful in these kind of tight corridors within this choke. So with that in mind, keep in mind that the Malfurion route is the biggest thing we're going to be looking for. So as this skirmish is happening, CE is, if they win this fight, they pretty much win the game with that 10 advantage and the structural advantage they have. The route goes down for the kill potential there, and immediately after, CE goes, wait, you're going to clump? Territorial spells come through. It's not even close. It's a one-shot, one kill. And decision 1 of the failure to rotate on Arthlon's half and the rest of the rotations into the night mixed with this makes it look like it is not even close, even though I would argue still objectively HeroesHearth had the better draft.
And that entirety, the draft for CE, that they had recognized everything that was working out so well for HeroesHearth in past, that they get that Blaze early on. Even if it hadn't been working out for Arthlon, it was still obviously a comfort, and the Blaze came in handy for the Tracer that has been a big deal for HeroesHearth too. It really feels like CE did their homework, and let's see what we get into the next game because of that, because we're ready for a battleground pool for game 2. And I cannot reiterate enough, this game means everything for these two teams. Any thoughts on what we're expecting? Heroes Hearth has the choice now. I'm guessing that they'd choose Map U.
They have to choose Map and
Yeah.
go Tomb. Like, go into a macro-oriented map, your second best, the one that's not banned out, and it's the weakest point for a Chinese team. If they don't go into Tomb and go first pick, I would be surprised. So Towers instead, not gonna lie, still a little surprised, but I'm glad to see them at least choose the battleground. I feel like going with first pick objectively is going to be very difficult for Heroes Hearth to get a win.
I think that would have been. I think I'd have been a little bit worried, quite honestly, if Heroes Hearth had just stuck to the tradition of what we've seen coming out of North America so far and going for a Volsky Foundry. I feel like CE would have been like, well, this actually works quite well for us as well. So I'm quite happy to see that Towers of Doom. It's not the Tomb that we were expecting, but still, it's refreshing in that regard.
I actually don't like the map pick. I really don't like it. We saw hesitation, we saw mixed and late rotations where it's some indecision, and I think the theme of nerves is what we're really seeing here. I mean, we're able to, as the analyst desk, sit next to the teams playing. We're literally right in front of them, right? You could hear comms. You know, I could tell McIntyre's trying to calm everybody down, trying to keep the mood good, but I can almost smell the fear. I can almost smell the fear of we may not go to this next stage.
Well, you are Wolf,
favorites.
so...
Exactly. But this map is a map that relies on strong macro play, good rotations, control of siege camps. They lost fights and choke points, like Dread pointed out. They made failed rotations. I wanted the Tomb pick. I thought it was perfect. This map, I really, really don't like it.
I think it plays into CE's strengths too when they are looking at team fighting. And honestly, this is one of their better maps. It's one that they choose in their region too. So this is, I don't know. What do you think? Knowing that is still
I can't
good
help but
for
feel like
Heroes?
there's a pocket strat somewhere down the line here. That with all this in line, it's not like it's a poor map for Heroes Hearth, but by no means have they been a Towers priority map, even within the North American region. And I don't think anybody looked at them even performing against North America, even though they were dominant, and you say they're a Towers map. That's never been the case. That being said, I don't think that they were as bad in the rotations as, you know, you're kind of highlighting, Wolf. I would argue a lot of that last game, again, was based on that one rotation that they didn't expect, and China has done over and over again. So if anything, I feel like that was Heroes Hearth not doing enough research into the approach that CE has on Sky Temple. But either way, I think it's going to be interesting.
Couple of picks here if Garrosh and Blaze, which are going to excel fantastically in those choke corridors that we were mentioning, and really saw in that second replay coming out on Sky Temple. And I feel like that's definitely what CE are looking to try and do once again is go through those rotations, look for those camps, look to try and bully you, and look to try and take down those kills. And with Heroes Hearth opening up with this 1-2, for me, I feel like that starts it off in a very good direction. It gives them engagement tools, gives them very reliable ways of surviving, and it means that they are going to go into a support composition relying around the, say, Tracer,
really
we should then have some survivability.
My thought was, when all is on the line, do you put faith into Aloof's Tracer when Genji's gone? They have done it so many times, but would they do it into the Garrosh and the Blaze? Why is it a really good play, Dread?
I think that's one of the biggest things that, you know, for the members of Heroes Hearth at this point in time is remove any kind of wild strategies, and Heroes Hearth is very comfortable with maybe flexing over to the risky solo support Abathur. Blaze, Garrosh are both people that can have that individual sustain. I'm not saying that they're 100% going that direction, but removing any wild hairball and Abathur, taking that away, and then also catering to the comp that CE has, I think for Towers was a very heads-up play from them. They're going to move, though, through those ban phase. Zeratul and Dahaka, or excuse me, not Dahaka, Deckard Cain, in fact, are going to be the two bans through here. Interesting choice to see Heroes Hearth ban out the Zeratul.
Wolf?
I really like the Deckard Cain ban, actually. It's been so popular throughout this tournament, and it's worked well mostly with Johanna and Garrosh. Blaze is normally not prioritized this highly, but in this case, since it is, and we're talking about choke points and contesting over Merc camps, for example, the Sapper camps specifically is what I mean. And of course, the boss fight can even be a great area to use Deckard Cain CC. They remove it here. And now Heroes Hearth has to make a decision as to how they're going to deal with this hyper-aggression from the Tracer Abathur. What do they bring to the table? What is going to be the DPS they want to use this front line to protect and poke at range?
But Deckard has, as of yet, been picked 4 times into Tracer and never been able to stop her, so...
I don't think it's the priority, though. From what I'm gathering off this ban, it's not so much a case of let's shut down this Tracer. It's more so we just have zoning control. We've got the scroller sitting, the stay a while and listen. We know there's going to be those 3 major points where people are going to be looking to try and fight on in, and those healing pots are going to then have a very centralized location, which is a lot more accessible compared to some of the other maps. That would be my reasoning behind it.
Well, it looks like maybe some of that pocket strategy you were talking about was sneaking its way in here. Am I wrong? Double support here, leaving the DPS for last pick with a Karazim.
HeroesHearth is without a doubt the most predominant double support Hanzo team that exists in North America and debatably the world. So I would say that is where the not surprise comes in, unless that's not a Hanzo. Then definitely a little bit more pocket. If not, I would expect something maybe like the Lunara. Jaina was originally the first thing I would expect, but once we got the Tassadar within the 3-4 on the side of HeroesHearth, it's a little bit more questionable.
Man, that is a team full of comforts for CE. Every single one of them.
I think it's Crone and it's Hanzo, quite honestly. I feel like you've got the Dragon's Arrow straight in with the Blaze and the Garage follow-up. You're just going to look to try and execute somebody within that chance. You've got the 7-sided strike potential. If not, you've got the Divine Palm to try and just turn that fight around when Tracer inevitably runs on in. Same for the last rights, if that's what they're going to be thinking. There's two different ways that they can go with this Malfield, but that would be my reasoning behind it, is that it's somebody that's hard to try and jump onto. Really only Tracer and Muradin are going to be the major threats towards the Hanzo. But they stick with the Vala.
Vala, it's all Vala today, man.
Yeah, it's all I'm seeing, regardless of Oriole.
I would have liked, the Hanzo more, but I think, I don't want to say I would have put faith in the Vala, but because it's being prioritized so much right now, we have seen from stronger teams, the Korean teams that played it just earlier, if you can protect it correctly, you can do so much damage. I just don't know if the Karazim synergizes well with it. You can jump on a Tracer with it, obviously, and that's one of the cool reasons why you pick Karazim, because he heals, he also does damage. You can, just basically point-click, jump onto the Tracer. But I don't know about this Vala pick. I don't hate it, but I don't love it. It's
well,
weird.
you're going to have to pick one of those two because I need your prediction. Do you hate it or do you love it?
I guess I could just say I don't hate it or love it, but based on the nervousness the sense I'm getting from HeroesHearth and that the problems that cause their macro and CE's quick thinking and Alufo being on his comfort Tracer, I'm going to go with CE this time.
Skimmy.
As much as I love an underdog story and the whole situation of being nervous, I'm going to actually flip the switch as well. I feel like CE coming into this one are very amped up. They've got their Tracer, they've got their ability to execute these members of the Vala. It just doesn't scream comfort for me. It feels like a little bit of a choke pick, so CE.
Jared?
I'm going to go HeroesHearth, even though I don't necessarily know if it's the brightest choice in the world here. And my main justification is going to be, with this draft, we're going to have Arthlon on the effective role that he was through a majority of the game, and we're going to see McIntyre off in the off role, and I have a feeling that seeing that level of impact on a macro sense might be enough to carry him through. But let's be real, it's a scary moment here for HeroesHearth.
Yeah.
This one hurts my heart, man. I love CE. I love the Chinese region and what they brought to Heroes, and I love HeroesHearth too, but I look at 5 full comforts for CE, and I don't think I can vote against that. So CE, but either way, I will be happy for who moves on. What are you guys thinking in chat, though? It's a tough one for us here. Is it a tough one for you? Yeah, it's getting... Actually, it flipped.
I mean, I think that in itself is a bold statement.
The world flipped, man, after that first game.
That's North American fan favorites just got flipped on that fast. I mean, that is huge.
Oh man, this is for all the marbles, friends. Trixler, Tetcher, thoughts?
Billy, you betrayed HeroesHearth. How?
I'm already sad about it enough, and now you have to just
guilt trip you a little bit.
Just go, I can't.
Well, let's go ahead and hop into it. Tetcher, you got to be feeling a little good. Game number 1, that was a great display from CE.
That was really, really solid. I loved the Hungering Arrow build from Vala. It was such a big deal in that composition. And now, as the analysis desk said, these are basically 5 comforts here for the team on the left-hand side, representing China. 1 game away from going to DreamHack Summer. It's CE with 365 on Malfurion, KTY on Abatha, Alufal on Tracer, Zhuyu on Malthael, and Wind is playing Muradin.
And on the right side, in the red, potentially their last game, they gotta power through. Ishbu on Garrosh, McIntyre on Blaze, Arthalon on Tassadar, BBJ on Karazim, and Crowan to play Vala.
Here on Towers of Doom, winner goes to DreamHack Summer. Simple as that, ladies and gentlemen, as both these teams already begin moving into the center of the map. Abatha starting off with a shield build. We have very much at this point moved away from what we used to see back in the day, which is the mine build on this map to completely intercept and interrupt rotations.
Now for HeroesHearth, I'm watching them because I want to see what they do immediately opening up. They need to be clearing out waves, getting some pressure on the map, and then looking to get straight onto Sappers. Oh my gosh, they are going straight for
is what they're
turrets.
doing straight away here. Tass even shielding the minions to push this in.
That's a clever play. Whenever you know an Abathur is on the opposing team and you don't see opponents sitting right in that lane as well, you need to try and grab that pick. But McIntyre on the rotation may have been caught. Jeff Potion goes out. BBJ comes in. He delivers a punch or two, but Aloof is able to get away, and BBJ now needs an escape. Does he have the dash? He doesn't have it. BBJ is going to fall.
And that was so close. This is a thing I wanted to mention. Mentioned it to you before we started. Karazim is wonderful against Tracer, just due to the simple fact of point-and-click damage and being fairly mobile himself. But that catch out and Karazim using all of his escape tools as aggression onto Tracer and not picking up that kill, that was a little bit of a misplay, and as such got picked up.
And CE is ready to play with fire. They come straight over to the Sappers. They look at Crowan. He's on the dashboard. Still hasn't recall available. But Faith and Abathur coming in and will bring out the heal as Ishbu has brought all 4 members of HeroesHearth down there trying to fight against Tracer.
BBJ, round 2, dashes in but can't pick up the kill. And once again, HeroesHearth backing up as CE. Very familiar to the CE back in HC China, that attempt of a 4-man rotation onto a mercenary camp. And they're coming back.
Middle wave is pushing right now, so CE can contest this area. They jump straight on top of Ish.
Easy kill, he's gone.
I don't know, I'm pretty good.
He is tanky, but he will get taken out by Malthael.
Especially with Malthael being here and the Sappers are taken away, and that worries me because HeroesHearth has a pretty strong early game, especially with double support if they can play a little bit on the safer side and have ball continue to shell away. With CE bringing that aggression with Tracer and jumping in and stealing away Sappers, that is a huge tempo swing here for CE.
It's going to be potentially even more of a tempo swing as Abathur has hit when you're with a Tracer comp, what I would call a little bit of a power spike here. Yeah. That extra shield with the sustaining carapace here is such a big deal when you're running with a Tracer. It gives us so much more sustain and so much more freedom to be able to have Abathur continuously soaking while also helping Tracer.
And we do see that adjustment coming in from Tassadar to try and make sure that we get the armor whenever shield expire for Vala. So the idea is to keep teammates alive. Make sure that a pulse bomb comes in, or if any type of damage comes out, or the shield expires, they at least have some time for Karazim to bring out those heals and of course get through cooldowns. But it's all about the altars now, with 3 spawning here, as we have HeroesHearth grabbing 4 to the bottom.
Zappers on the way in, as you said, as the altars already online here. It's going to be Blaze looking to grab his own, but Malthael, he's going to try and interrupt this. It looks like CE are happy to give up bottom, and they're going to try and steal top and get kills also.
An attempt to do so. Pulse Bomb comes out, will hit Crowan. He gets low on health, but luckily with the shield being there, he is just fine. The rest of CE shows some pressure to the bottom lane, trying to make sure those Sappers do move on in, while HeroesHearth continues to try to grab that top right altar. But with Murden and Malthael floating around, CE has the tools to contest.
Look at that speed coming in there from the Honor Pale horse. It's allowing Malthael to be such a pain here. Wind also now here. I don't know how much they're willing to commit to this. Right now it's a 2v2, but Karazim is rotating up.
All they're trying to do here is put doubt in HeroesHearth. They're not actually trying to force to grab this altar. They don't need to. The more time they buy, the better for Abathur as they move towards level 10.
Very true. So far, XP is looking pretty good for them. They put great pressure onto bot lane. And as you said, they back up pretty calmly once the numbers game was out of their favor, basically.
Now, Sappers will be spawning up pretty soon here. HeroesHearth needs to make sure that's a #1 priority, but they also have to be careful because CE has shown that they are willing to be aggressive, and being aggressive is what they're doing right now. Aloof cutting off this choke while Malfurion pushes in the bottom wave to make HeroesHearth miss out on experience.
Yes, Malfurion in his current form, well known for his wave clear, but he is here and there is XP, so it's working out pretty well for them at this point. Whereas Malthael still dueling up in top lane and scouting out the mercenary camp, sees that McIntyre's not trying anything sneaky there.
Do get a mule pickup here for Abathur. Not something you see consistently.
It's weird. It's interesting on this map, the mule dichotomy, in the fact that the best way to really defeat a mule on most maps is to just kill the structure you're aiming for. Whereas on this map, you can take them back. So in theory, mule would have really good value, but also it cannot affect the core, so you lose that potential game-saving value.
Well, that talent kind of comes as a pick based on the composition for CE. When it comes to them losing a tower, actually taking it back is a bit difficult. Even with Tracer who is ranged, Malthael does no siege damage whatsoever. Murden's not going to do much in that regard. So the idea is, okay, at least keep these forts alive with Mule. That way we don't ever lose out in one and we get in a spot where we get pinched.
Look at Vala's build, by the way. Hot Pursuit into the Arsenal, followed up by the repeating arrow, going for that reset on the Hungering Arrow. Maximum possible burst-esque damage here.
Interesting, because sometimes we see the Death Trap talent picked up at level 7
Yeah.
for Crowan. He likes the ability to dance around and be able to get multiple vaults coming in that resets the vaults, but looking for that repeating arrow, so wants to keep up that single target DPS damage in a way. Gonna have McIntyre in the middle, popping his Pyromaniac to stay alive, but he will be retreating back as the altars will spawn. 2, 1 to the left and 1 to the right will be the spot of contention for our teams.
Wind drops a little bit of harassment, trying to slow down some rotations, as we're going to see a very simple 1-for-1 trade here. No attempt to try and interrupt here as CE. They know they are approaching level 10. There's no reason for them to try and throw away a lead before they have even got close to the level 10.
I'm getting worried. HeroesHearth is half a level behind. 10's about to hit pretty soon here.
Yep.
CE can force a fight at any point with double Tracer. They would like to because of Abner coming in. Wind actually trying to force a fight now as he jumps forward and attempts to go for a Storm Bolt, but doesn't see an opportunity, so he doesn't allow it to unleash. There's that Storm Bolt as he'll get Arthwan.
Right now, just sort of being harassment here. You can see Tracer a little bit above, could rotate into have gone for the kill, but decides against it. Would have been very hard to actually finish off the engagement there. But so far, CE, level 10, just about to hit, and they're going to try and make a Merc push with it.
Sappers will be grabbed here, that will be 10. I'm trying to think of HeroesHearth, if there's anything different that we'll see in terms of heroics. Strafe, I don't think is something that you want to move into unless you're wanting to pop out 2 quick Hungering Arrows and just try to drop down that Strafe to stay alive. And actually, there it is. So Crowan is looking to put out as much damage as possible on the front-loaded side. Has to be careful though, because Tracer goes in, grabs the pulse bomb, the palm comes out.
I mean, the palm was absolutely the right call there. That was way too close to call just with a glance there. So I love that he did that as we see BBJ continuing to just chase a Luful. But now, let's see if Muradin can punish him. No, Earth Ally, too good.
Getting that extra dash there at level 7 helps him stay alive.
Blinding speed. As we also see Tormented Souls and Twilight Dream for CE. Full team fight comp, which could very easily be shut down by Bunker. As such, McIntyre has immediately become the target and is forced to back up as this next objective is 15 seconds away.
Doesn't have a tap available. Remember that pressure he had earlier against him. He had a tap earlier, so he will be coming into this fight low on health, but will have the bunker. Immediate throw here from Ishbu to top Zayu to the side. Zayu won the chase forward though, has the Tormented Souls, and is willing to proc.
Stormbolt does not land here, so as such, Crowan able to rotate up to his team. Remember, Abatha can copy in at any moment as Wind takes a long wraparound looking for Crowan. Ends up grabbing McIntyre instead. Is the bunker going to come down as they push forward? No heroics burnt yet for either team.
Still no clone either for CE, and that's when we'll have them go for that full engage. McIntyre stepping forward, playing patient, but Crowan, he's content here to continue poking. Remember the double Hungering Arrow that he has available, and the Strafe. There's going to be a taunt, and there's going to be a kill for HHE.
Easy blow up, and now KTY coming in with the clone onto Malthael here. And Luful gets a great rewind out of the Twilight Dream, but will get finished off by McIntyre here. McIntyre will die to the poison. No, saves himself with the fire. 365 getting chased down, and HeroesHearth are dominating this fight.
Arthwan doing great damage too with that Archon on the side. That fight was actually pretty handy there for CE with the 4v5. The Twilight Dream in particular, making sure that Karazim could not get the palm off. CE Win trying to buy some time and slow down this altar, but he is low on mana. I don't know if he's going to be able to escape. He gets a reject globe so he can jump out. Okay, he's fine.
Valor out of mana as well. So that ended up being a 2 and a bit if you count the Abatha clone for 1 there, as only Karazim was taken out on the side of HeroesHearth. But HeroesHearth continue to extend their core health lead, and the lead that CE had is kind of evaporating.
That fight was needed for HeroesHearth. That gives him some...
Oh my god, Wind.
Wind just goes in. He's murdered, and he's got to have...
Wind going down, they chuck in front as he see him, he can't Avatar, but Tormented Souls is dropping crazy damage. 365 and a Luful arrive as a Luful is dropped low. The camp will be taken as Zuyu gets wrecked by Palm.
BBJ with the palm, the great kiting from HeroesHearth as well, and they find 2 more kills. HeroesHearth has found their composure, and CE finds himself on the back foot. They have to make sure they do not lose this fort in the bottom left side. They are mealing it already and clearing up what they can with Tracer and Malfurion, but I don't think it'll be enough. HeroesHearth is already moving in.
They are going pretty deep for this. Muradin's on the way, but it's a 2 versus 5. Make that a 1 versus 5 as a Luful is forced to back up. Down goes bottom bell tower here as HeroesHearth holding a little bit behind in the early game, but they are absolutely recovering and are in a pretty commanding position in this game, but it's far from over.
Massive power play from HeroesHearth there. First off, multiple kills coming in, but secondly, grabbing that bottom altar means the 2 altars that spawn soon will be hard for CE to contest. And they keep up the pressure too. They run into the middle lane, they start to deal with some opponents that are trying to rotate down, and they also get the wave pushed out. Now all they have to do is watch a choke here on the left and watch a choke in the top left corner, and they can get both these altars.
Balance are even. Olufa, by the way, didn't go for his almost trademark untouchable here, did go for the parting gift, so he's trying to keep himself safe as they begin to burn down the sappers here. Just in time for an objective, and Zuyu's going to try and at least delay it on his side as Garrosh grabs the bottom one.
The clone even getting popped here. KT was going to jump straight onto Blaze while Zayu tries to go for the altar, but he's going to get interrupted, and the rest of CE is lumbering their way over.
Zuyu taking a lot of damage as the strafe will take out the clone, but the double stun from Wind. Crowan, the palm is active. The taunt is so good, but Tormented Soul, is this enough? The bunker is denying so hard. BBJ dancing for his life. He dashes out.
He dashes out, and a kill will go on Malfurion as well. 2 are down for CE, and HeroesHearth is nice and healthy. BBJ playing a little bit careful on the side as he needs to, and he's able to grab a 3rd kill with the rest of his team. They'll turn around and look at the altar.
BBJ holding up all the redemption for that earlier death earlier on in the game. Check that out again. A huge stun, but McIntyre, full bunker denial, completely denying the Tormented Soul's value.
That bunker doing work for HeroesHearth, seeing 2 members be able to dance in and out of it, Crowan and BBJ, and they find that kill later on, of course. So now we have a nice lead for HeroesHearth, 15-14. That altar at the bottom left has still not been grabbed by CE, and they all spawn here to try and contest it. But Crowan and BBJ, they are playing goalie defense perfectly.
They are doing such a good job here. Sappers have spawned on their own side of the map. Nice little dash back from Aloof, keeping himself safe here as Malthael soaks XP, trying to keep them in the game XP-wise. As, like you mentioned, he has very little siege damage, so he can't do much in terms of this bot lane control. Looks like CE might have the plan of trying a wrap-around gank play to try and pick up some kills here. But TAS get denied Oracle value.
CE has a list of chores right now that I don't know if they can complete. With a 3 altar phase about to come up soon, they have to grab this bottom altar back, or they have to get some kills to get some experience, and they have to hit level 16. They have 3 important things they need to do before HeroesHearth gets there, and I don't know if they'll achieve either of them. Instead, they just jump on the map there and they try to take away some sappers, or at least try to set up some ganks, but HeroesHearth is playing careful right now, making sure nothing like that is occurring.
Malthael is not here, neither is Blaze. So this would be a 4 versus 4 if Abathur was to join his team. CE 16's about to hit for HeroesHearth. Moving in right now would be an incredibly risky move, but Arthalon having some trouble there. There is the cleansing touch coming in from Karazim quickly, but no real CC coming out yet.
Sappers are right here in the corner. There's still a taunt for Ifu. Wind jumps in. He's going to try and hold the point.
Duyu being a great distraction here, preventing the bunker from really coming into play. The Twilight Dream is good onto the Garrosh here as he's dropped low. Clutch heal from Karazim as McIntyre is in range. Tormented Soul, no one's near the bunker. BBJ gets in at the last moment as Malthael goes down. Aloof will try to drop the damage, but the bunker has shut down CE's dreams again.
And Malfurion will be next as Arthalon slows him down. He'll go ahead and zap him with a couple of storms, and finally a 365 will get picked off. And Vala heads to the top left corner trying to grab the point in time, and Aloof is by himself. A Hungering Arrow will come out, but Aloof is just trying to grab 1 altar on the map.
Abathur Shield trying to hold them in the game. There are 5 shots, 10 shots coming out here. If they can't interrupt Crowan, then that's all she wrote. That is GG. And HeroesHearth are going to DreamHack Summer. Wow.
HeroesHearth in game number 1 fall to a night camp push to the top right corner that really put them on the behind, but in this game, in game number 2, they played much more composed, found a couple of opportunities, and took over the map with that bottom left altar, and it was enough to put CE in a position where they could not make the play. We have the series being tied up 1-1 here, as Crowan and the rest of the crew get a big victory.
That is all the HeroesHearth needed. They were already a point ahead of CE. That is basically what they had. I think it was 2 points maybe. CE needed the full 3 points to overtake them. HeroesHearth, they can't get the tiebreaker against Method now, but they have guaranteed their spot in the final 8. Both American teams making it through.
And you have to give credit to CE. They go out in the way that they play the game. I mean, it was a 15-16 fight, but they brought that aggression to Heroes Hearth and said, you know what, this is what we're going to do. Live or die by this moment. And the thing is, they could have waited 3 or 4 moments, maybe held an altar, and then kind of fought from behind, but at least they went out the way that they normally play the game. So kudos to CE. Of course, we will not be seeing them at the next tournament, the playoffs next week, but Heroes Hearth able to make it. You got to be proud of it if you're a North American fan.
And to break this down more, we're heading right back over to the command centers. Guys, what a series.
What a series indeed. And my reverse psychology worked out to perfection. Never doubt it. No, I'm just kidding. That was pretty scary. But Bunker got mad value that whole game.
Can we just talk about the fact that that is Mac on the Blaze versus Arthlon on the Blaze?
Yeah.
Like,
Sure.
I think we have to highlight the difference and contrast in play there. Like,
Okay, go ahead.
No, it's just we need to be looking at that when looking at Heroes Hearth, because if they draft a Blaze and then it's going on to Arthlon versus McIntyre and the way that they play as a unit, it completely changes how you interpret the draft as they go through. That's why half the time I'm like, I don't know how to analyze this until I know where every single person on this roster is.
Yeah, I think it could have been very fair that they tried to give Arthlon the Blaze and then have McIntyre playing Tassadar. He's played Tassadar in the past before, but I mean, that was a lot of value for the Bunker skimmy. Also, some hard engagements for CE, it felt.
Some really hard engagements. There were like chances where they're diving in deep, and I saw like Zuya,
Yeah.
I think on Malphite at one stage like trying to like 1v3 with a hat on it, and I'm just like, that's like a little bit interesting. And like the Divine Palm comes out, and he's just gonna pop it instantly. We're like, maybe the nerves just transferred across the room, because then suddenly Heroes Hearth starts speaking, and CE are quite so interesting how like the psychological factor comes into play, apart from the draft, apart from who's actually playing these different heroes, just the nerves and then the ramifications of what this actually meant really all summed up here.
Yeah,
Not so much synergy there.
I think that like there was also a lot of misplays on CE in terms of Palm procs. Like there were many times where Palm was used a little bit early, and they just blew it up and activated it, and it was super weird. It was almost like they were like, well, we got to win this fight now, so like let's kill him twice. So it just felt really silly. It almost felt intentional how they were proccing these palms instead of ignoring them. BBJ had a great game in terms of his mobility and escaping from death, but his palms are sometimes a little bit early, and CE didn't capitalize on it. In fact, they procced the palms, and that was a big problem in some of those fights too.
Dread, what would you like to show us?
You know, it's a little bit of palm value and a lot of bunker value, that's for sure, throughout this one. This is going to be, you know, near the game-ending skirmish with the invade attempt. The biggest thing to highlight here in a moment is going to be how much emphasis goes down into trying to kill Ishbu. But at the very last second, they're gaining value out of his 13 to keep himself up with a great groundbreaker right there to keep it up. And as you said, the palm from BBJ, amazing. But then the dash in onto McIntyre to make sure he can get into the bunker, and by the time that is, you know, that's one of the biggest reasons that we have kind of seen a fallout there out of the Tormented Souls with the response of Blaze, because just get into the bunker, you can keep yourself alive. And I feel like BBJ, you know, had a very standout performance on this Towers of Doom Karazim comparative to the last one.
I mean, both of Malthael's heroic abilities can suffer when it comes to the bunker, and that seemed to be the saving grace the entirety of that game to me.
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely in the draft. It was like, it could be Last Rites, it could be Tormented Souls. Yeah, absolutely, the bunker can shut that down. And I think, I mean, apart from everything else, bunker was the MVP. The amount of times it really said, I heard McIntyre screaming like bunker, 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 like just get inside and just turn things around. Like, it's amazing.
Well, let's check in with Heku and see how she enjoyed that series. Heku?
I enjoyed that last game. It was absolutely insane. How did BBJ manage to survive so many times? Can you tell your secret?
Well, early on I died because I dashed in on the Tracer because I didn't have my level 7 talent with enough dashes yet. And then once I get level 7, I can just kind of dash all over the place, and bunker saved me a lot of times that game.
Yeah, you were just jumping from bunker here and back, here and back. It was absolutely insane. I'm sorry, I'm just speechless. But you went for double support and Vala for the second game. Why?
I mean, we just said put the game in Krone's hands, and it worked.
Yeah, it did work out for you. But, what went wrong in that first game?
First game is kind of a comp we don't really play that much, and I don't think that was really our style of draft. And then it's probably some nerves, and also them playing a style that we hadn't really played against in a while. They've definitely played like an Eastern style that not even the Koreans were playing against us, so we didn't adapt that well during the game, and then we just, you know, fell over kind of.
Did you lose it so Method can just relax and stay at their huddle?
Well, we wanted to add some, you know, drama to the final game, you know, for CE fans out there. That one was for you.
Thank you very much, BBJ. Back to you, Gilly.
Thank you, Heku. Thank you.